Hey, how's it going? Mike Marin here. And in this video, we're going to cover how to get the most out of this training. So please don't skip this. This is the most important video. So let's go over it. Number one, how to get the most out of this training is go in order, right? Play at 100%, like focus. If you're set aside the time to go through this, successful people take the time to learn. They take the time to train. Also, number two is speed of implementation. If you see us do something, right? If I'm demoing ChatGPT, don't just be passive. Sign up for an account. Go through it. Play with different prompts and get an idea. You learn much more by doing. And like David Sandler says, you cannot learn to ride a bike at a seminar. So go ahead and implement it. Speed of implementation actually comes from a study. I first heard it from Evan Pagan. It's a study at Harvard, which basically they studied successful people, and the most successful people get an idea and implement it right away. So implement. And finally is the number one technique for accelerated learning is, I studied a lot about accelerated learning, and the biggest thing is not how to learn faster, but it's just to learn, period. And there's a course I took, really good course, which basically covered like the 3 barriers to learning, why people don't learn. So it took it at a different approach, which is the number one reason people don't learn is because they don't know the definitions. So whenever you come across a new subject like this, this is new to you. There's going to be new terms, marketing terms, AI terms. It's very, very important to get and know the definitions, to know the language of the field. Every field has their own language. So this is a time to use Google, use ChatGPT, and look up words that you don't know, because just like if you're trying to learn something in Spanish and you don't know the definition, you're not going to be able to learn it. So, and a lot of times in English, people or new topics, we don't get terms defined, and that limits how well we learn. So very, very important to do that. So with that said, I'm going to define some terms before I get into my favorite part of any training, which is the elephants in the room. So what is a virtual asset? If you look it up in the dictionary, an asset is anything tangible or intangible that can be used to produce positive economic value. Assets represents value or ownership that can be converted into cash. And if you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and if you study wealthy people, they're very big on owning assets, right? Owning assets delinks you from your time, and it's something of value. So common assets are stocks. That would mean you own a portion of a business, right? Bonds, real estate, right? Patents, IP. If you own IP, that is an asset. And what is less known is advertising campaigns. And that's going to be a big one that we're going to cover here. Or a brand. Like imagine if you owned the rights to the brand of Coca-Cola or even Apple. Massive, massive assets. So a virtual asset is anything that exists only in digital form and has distinct usage rights or permission for use that produces positive economic value. And again, you're probably familiar with crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, but there's other types of virtual assets such as social media campaigns, websites, full-out customer acquisition systems, email marketing systems, which have the ability to be an asset, which then you have the rights to, and you can rent that out or license it to small business owners. So, and the last thing is marketing assets, which is any resource, material, or content we're going to talk about in this course, that a business uses to promote its brand, products, or services to attract and engage potential customers. Marketing assets can be physical. I'll show you one of the most famous ones in a second, or digital, and are designed to communicate the business's value, build brand awareness, and drive sales. So, that could be social media content, which I'm going to teach you how to create with AI, email follow-up series, which I'm going to teach you how to create with AI, advertising campaigns, which I'm going to teach you how to create in AI in this program, and then sales letters and video sales letters, okay? So this is probably one of the most famous marketing assets. If you're a direct response marketing nerd like I am, and you go back and you study the greats like Claude Hopkins and Eugene Schwartz, John Caples. But this right here, this was a letter that was responsible for $2 billion. It is the tale of the 2 young men direct mail letter, and this sold $2 billion worth of the Wall Street Journal. You might have heard of it. They do over $500 million in revenue. And this was a letter that was sent in the mail, and I'll read a little bit of it for you because it's so good. It says, "Dear reader, on a beautiful late spring afternoon 25 years ago, 2 young men graduated from the same college. They were very much alike. These 2 young men Both had been average students. Both were personable, and both, as young college graduates, are filled with ambitious dreams of the future. Recently, these men returned to their college for their 25th reunion. They were still very much alike. Both were happily married, both had 3 children, and both, it turned out, had gone to work for the same Midwestern manufacturing company after graduation, and were still there. But what was the difference? One of the men was a manager of a small department, and the other was its president. What made the difference? Have you ever wondered, as I have, what makes the difference in people's lives? It isn't always a native intelligence or talent or dedication. It isn't that one person wants success and the other doesn't. The difference lies in what each person knows and how he or she makes use of that knowledge. And that is why I'm writing to you and to people like you about the Wall Street Journal. For that is the whole purpose of the journal, to give its readers knowledge that they can use in their own business. So it basically a sales pitch for the Wall Street Journal. This was sent out in the mail. Again, this was created once. Minor tweaks. I think it ran for about 20 years, but it brought in $2 billion worth of Wall Street Journal subscriptions, and that doesn't even account for inflation. So massive, pretty much built the entire company. So do you think this letter was an asset for the company? If you would have went in and wrote this for them, this is why copywriters and marketers are some of the highest paid people in the world, because it's what's driving the business of these companies. So again, what we're going to do, just so that we're clear, is this program is all about creating virtual assets, just like the Wall Street Journal letter, that we exchange or rent to small businesses. So if you do social media organic posts, you can charge $250 to $1,000 a month. That's kind of like I think of it as like in karate terms, like that's the white belt level, very easy to do. You could do that part-time as a side hustle. A step up would be doing email marketing, right? And creating emails for local businesses and doing their newsletter. Most small business owners, like, Larry the lawyer or Denny the dentist, they are too busy. They know they should have an email list. They know they should be emailing, but they're just too busy. They don't want to learn how to do it. They think it's hard. That's where we come in, and you have AI do 80 to 90% of the work and charge $1,000 to $3,000 a month. This, in fact, is how I made my first 6 figures as a copywriter, was by doing email marketing for small businesses. It was also for coaches, but mainly small businesses. And it is a great way to get started. Not a huge skill level involved to do that. Then a little bit higher on the skill level is actually the case study that I'll show you inside this training of how I brought in. It's about $129,000 in 60 days. And that was by selling advertising campaigns to small businesses to generate them leads. Again, once you create one ad, you could duplicate that. So if you help, let's say, a dentist in Ohio, and you get it working, and you have that kind of letter, like it's a Wall Street Journal letter, you could take that and plug it into New York, and it's probably it's going to work. Probably going to work, right? Maybe a few tweaks here and there, but generally, if it's working, you could duplicate that across the country without much changes and rent that out. And again, that's the key to quick scale. And then obviously, marketing systems, right? Doing more than just the social media stuff, doing like social media and email and a few other things, right? And doing marketing systems, you get paid anywhere from $3,000 to $15,000 plus a month to build these assets for small businesses. So that's what we're going to cover, just so we're clear on like the definitions. And again, small businesses will pay you anywhere from $750 to $10,000 a month for each of these virtual marketing assets, because these assets bring in a predictable and sustainable flow of new customers, and it solves their number one problem, which is cash flow, right? That's the number one reason why businesses fail, is cash flow. And again, it's if you look at like the giant companies, they really have created these massive assets which connect buyers and sellers. So like, why is Amazon a $1 trillion company? Well, they connect buyers and sellers, and they get a percentage, right? They have the marketing is the highest paid skill, because it's how you generate leads, and it's how you generate attention in the attention economy, right? So Uber, there's 7 million drivers. Uber is just really just a virtual asset that connects buyers and sellers and delivers customers to people who want to work remotely. Airbnb, same thing, 5 million Airbnb hosts. And again, it connects buyers and sellers and for people, and delivers customers to people who want to rent a room out or a separate house. So these companies are absolutely great at getting attention. They're great at marketing. We're basically doing the same thing, but on the small business level, where there's millions. Again, 33.3 3 million small businesses just in America, 400 million worldwide. And a majority of them fail because they don't have the sophistication of this. And with AI, we can really step in. So let's get to my favorite part of any course, which is the elephants in the room, right? I love talking about this because most programs don't talk about the elephant in the room. So here's elephant in the room number one. You're going to watch the case study. You're going to see this training, right? And again, the case study I'm going to show you is fairly advanced. And what I recommend is doing something a little simpler to start, like social media social media posting. But with regards to this, you're going to say like, hey, but I'm not Mike Barron, right? I haven't built a 7-figure agency. I haven't worked behind the scenes of some of the world's biggest experts and coaches. I haven't been doing this for 10 plus years. I haven't had a training company with 12,000 happy customers. Sure, you can do this, right? But I can't do this, right? I haven't been on a team that was on the Inc. 5000 2 years in a row, and I'm not friends with all marketers, right? So at the end of the day, I have taught this to regular people too. And even if you are advanced, this is still a massive, massive opportunity. So this guy right here, Alex Jeffries, the three of us, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but, there is, Adam Davies. Let's go back. Adam Davies. There's Billy Jean over there, another great marketer. Alex Jeffries and myself, and the three of us built, Marketing With You, which was on the Inc. 5000 list 2 years in a row. Alex was actually the CEO. Alex is one of those guys he is amongst the top marketers and pays a lot of money to be in masterminds such as Joe Polish, which is down there. He was in Joe Polish's 100K group. And we were just actually at Ty Lopez's mastermind mansion party the other day. And he's always looking at like what's the best business model, and he's all in on this business model. So even if you are advanced, right, you can do this, right? But if you're a beginner and you're a regular person, this works, right? So regular people, I've taught this to. This Michael works a regular job, and $5,000 a month, deal close, bank and rank, right? Here's Dustin Rossi. He created a $28,000 in new monthly recurring revenue in just 30 days. He said, I set a goal for 20K, and that's 24,000 with almost half of the month to go. Right here, he says, just closed $13,000, a $13,500 per month deal. And again, that was all by creating a marketing asset, which he was then able to rent out. So he was actually able to take this full time and go big with this, right? Stasio, another person, right here, you can see a $5,000 a month program, a $5,000 a month deal, boom, paid for the program. This deal alone is 60,000 in new revenue. I'm still working with him today. He's over 20,000 in monthly recurring revenue every single month from this business. There's Austin right here. Again, regular guy. You can see where he did a cold email campaign and closed his first deal for 2,500. Then you can see a little bit later, $2,900 for his second client, one of being $12,000 in just the first 6 weeks of implementing this model. So if you're a beginner, you absolutely can implement this and get it to work. Absolutely, right? So elephant number 2, right, is, and this is my favorite element because so many people will go through a program and they go, oh, wow, this is a little hard. I'm going to look for something easier. Guys, if it's hard, it's worth something. And here's the reality. Here's the hard truth. The truth is business is hard. There is no easy way to riches. The world is not a crazy enough place where you're going to find some easy way to make $10,000 a month and live life completely on your own terms. And, just because you're in this and watching this, money's going to rain from the sky and bikini models are going to show up. It's just not how it works. So, if you think you're going to come in here and just because you've invested in this, you're spending your time, you're going to get the $10,000 a month without having to learn a skill. I'm going to be real with you. You're going to have to work at this, right? Hard workers is who I want in this program. Now we're going to work smart and leverage what we're doing, but there's no way to do this. Anytime you say to someone like, oh, here's an easy business, talk to anyone who's actually built a business, right? They're just telling you some sort of get rich quick scheme. And there's no easy business. When people are like, oh, it's so easy. I'll tell you how it is. It's hard in terms of a video game, right? So I played Guitar Hero back in the, or learning a skateboard, any real skill, right? I remember I played Guitar Hero Great game, by the way. And I'd play easy, and it was so difficult, right? And then eventually, like, I kept playing in college, and then I got to expert mode. And I remember the first time I saw my buddy playing on expert mode, and I was like, that is impossible. How is he doing that? And then I put in the hours, I put in the reps, I failed, and eventually, within about a 6-month period, I was playing expert mode with him, and actually beating him because I put in the time. And then, you know what? I could go back to the medium level, which was in the very beginning very hard, and I was like, wow, this is easy, right? But I learned the skill. Same with skateboarding. Like, I remember I saw kids doing an ollie and a kickflip, and I was like, that is so hard, right? But I kept at it, learned how to do an ollie, learned how to kickflip, eventually learned how to kickflip on command, and I was like, wow, it's so easy to kickflip. However, that's just how it works, right? People think that business is different, where they're like, it's hard. So then this is where shiny object syndrome comes from, is they're like, oh, wow, this is really hard. Let me find an easier model. Let me do drop shipping. Let me do Amazon FBA. Let me do like this model where I don't have to speak to anyone and money rains from the sky. And believe me, anything that is easy, there will be a charlatan salesman out there selling you that you can do it, right? So what I urge you to do is not to do that. And remember this, if it was easy, everyone would do it, and it wouldn't be worth anything. There's no way to copy and paste your way to success. There's no copy and paste agency that you can buy. There's no copy and paste anything you can buy to your way to success. Okay? Now, the amount of money we receive, this is a very important law, the amount of money we receive will always be in direct ratio to the demand for what we do, our ability to do it, and the difficulty of doing it, how replaceable we are. Keep that in mind. So the demand for what we, in this program, we're going to learn high in-demand skills, which is marketing using AI. And we're going to get better at it. There's a skill level to it. A highly skilled human will always be worth more in our economy than a person who is not highly skilled and who could be easily replaced. So that's why the brain surgeon makes a lot more than the house cleaner or the Uber driver. Uber drivers don't get paid much because guess what? Anybody can drive a car. Brain surgeon, more skill. Marketing, big skill, right? We're going to leverage AI, which actually is a skill, which is great, which we're going to cover that in a second. So what I'll say to you is if it gets hard, is it really that hard? Like, to me, hard is working a job you don't like. Hard is never having enough. Hard is looking at your dreams and never getting them. To me, this stuff is a breeze. Learning, putting in the time, reading a few books, learning this stuff is fun because you're actually helping people. So, is it really that hard? Just remember that frame whenever you think it gets too hard. So, guys, this is the best cash flow business in the world. It's recession proof, it's inflation proof, it's pandemic proof, and it's AI proof because we're leveraging AI. You can be your own boss. You can work as much or as little as you want, right? You don't have to do this full time. You can do it part time. You could even do it as a job. Like I've learned marketing and done this as a job in between businesses, but I was doing what I enjoyed. Right? It's low overhead. It's 100% remote. It's a real business where you actually help people. By you delivering customers, you are being a hero to small businesses. It's not like trading, right? Where for you to win, someone has to lose. There's a lot of businesses which are zero-sum games, meaning when one person wins, the other person loses. Here, you deliver value and you get paid a sliver to deliver. Finally, like, it's not saturated, right? There are so many new businesses. That doesn't mean that you could copy and paste your way to success, right? You still have to do real marketing, right? But it will never saturate because there is always opportunities. There's always growth. There's always new markets coming out. There's 400 million. This is worldwide. And also there's monthly recurring revenue, which is big, right? So many people pick a business to start that does not have monthly recurring revenue, which is crazy because there's that feast and famine cycle. Like if you're a coach, right? If you sell courses, right? It's like up and down. There's that feast and famine cycle of like, there's no monthly recurring revenue. If you don't know I would much rather have a business where I make a little less, but I know what I'm making every month because the world operates off monthly, than big money comes in and then not a lot of money. So, like affiliate marketing, e-commerce where you're selling products one-off, like all those businesses don't really, unless they have a recurring built in, it's not a great model. Like this model here, everything we're doing is selling a recurring, $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month. And it makes it very, very easy to have predictable income. And finally, semi-passive, right? Like we have to work hard, but you want to work smart and get into a business where your inputs don't match your outputs, or you put a lot of money in the beginning to build the machine, and then the machine works pretty much on autopilot. So this is massive, guys. I'm excited for you to be in this program, and I'll see you. And yeah, that's how to get the most out of it. And I'll see you in the next video.